Ladies and gentlemen, very exciting news today.
Exciting
news. We
news.
are getting some big DLC for Lego Indiana Jones.
Big Lego Indiana Jones DLC.
Let me tell you, I just saw the new movie, and I'm excited for the Lego version whenever that happens, because apparently money is all Disney cares about.
Well, I'll tell you all about it on this episode of Cinema Lounge Presents.
Roll that jazz.
It started. Do you think it started?
Yeah. Do you think that was like a good cold open? I don't know if I actually feel that aggressively about Disney making money, but the people on the internet care about it, so I figured I'd start with something unoriginal thought.
You came in hot.
Yeah.
You came in real hot.
I always
Speaking
do.
of unoriginal,
yes.
Not referring to the movie.
Yes.
I have something that I'd like to do for you.
Okay.
Okay. So just
do for me.
Yes.
Do to me.
Here, hold this.
You're
Stay right
moving,
there.
which makes me feel like
Stay
you're
right
not doing
there.
something for me.
Stay right there.
Your regular MacBook is so much heavier than my MacBook Air.
14-inch MacBook Pro.
You heard it here first, everybody. Marshall's got a 14-incher, and he's a pro. Hopefully that picked up on the mic. Wow, this is so good, Marshall. I love this. Is this all Notion? Yeah, dude. I mean, sorry. Excuse me. You'll cut this out. Whatever. Is this real? No, this isn't. Is this? Oh, it is Notion. Wow. Dude, I'm in love with this. Why haven't I even looked at this yet? I gotta use this. Marshall, this Notion looks so...
I'm back.
Oh my gosh, Indy! You look so young, Marshall, but your voice sounds like an 80-year-old man.
Hey. Hey, I got something for you, kid.
What's up? I
got you a hat.
Oh my gosh! Call me Shorty. That's what I say. Wow, we don't have video this time around, everybody. But Marshall walked in with a Indiana Jones hats and a faux leather jacket. And
I thought I had another one, but I can't find it.
This is nice. What is this?
I got that at the Omaha Zoo.
Boyfriend material?
No.
Here's your computer back.
Thank you. I hope you audio listeners enjoyed this visual segment. Let's take a picture real fast of
Okay,
this.
send it to the people.
Yeah. And then you take one of me.
Oh, this isn't a
No.
Wow, yeah, this is gonna look good on the socials.
Very good. Yeah, so you can check that out on social media. Acute listeners, attentive listeners, will remember that when me and Connor talked about Raiders of the Lost Ark, I did this exact same thing.
The Last Ark or the Lost Ark?
Is that what I said?
Why not both?
This is the last one that we're ever gonna have.
Yep.
After this arc, it's over.
Yeah. That's what the Nazis said when their faces melted off.
One of them exploded or something. I hate it when that happens, when the Nazis explode.
Did you just make a grimacing face to the whiskey Coke I made you?
No, I like it, Ben, I promise.
No, you don't have to.
I do like it. This
think
jacket's warm, though.
Yeah, it's because it's the whiskey Coke.
It is the whiskey.
It'll warm you right up.
But here's the thing, Ben.
Yeah.
Speaking of warming right up,
Yeah.
I was worried. You're not gonna wear the hat?
Oh, I will. Sorry, I'm sorry. Did that offend you?
I was worried about
It
this
just fits
film.
so well on my kneecap.
I don't think either of these hats fit us correctly. Not gonna lie. You want to try this one on?
You know what they always say about hats is you just gotta wear it as though it fits and pretend like it. You gotta own it. Something. I would love to purchase a real Stetson hat.
Dude, I want to get like a nice Indiana Jones hat.
I just don't know if it like. I want to use it for yard work. I want to like mow in it. I want to like freaking just wear it out on the town. But I feel like it would
Full
look
grandpa,
like
dude.
I don't know. I feel like everyone would be like, "Oh, look, it's the Mumford and Guy sons."
The Mumford and Guy sons.
He just walked into the bar wearing the Stetson hat.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I want to channel the Indiana Jones vibe / the Adam Savage vibe. I think both.
Yes.
I think he is someone.
Well, that is like an Indiana Jones hat.
Yeah,
I think that's his whole
yes.
thing, is that it's like a replica indie hat.
I think it looks great, but I don't know how I would look. How do I look right now?
I think you look good. I think that you would have to wear a different outfit to go with it.
Thank you. Chacos and a Stetson hat doesn't look good.
I think it's more like the gym shorts and the green t-shirt.
Yeah, well.
This looks good on its own, and then you put the hat, and the hat doesn't make it look bad, but it
Right.
doesn't quite make sense.
Yeah. That makes sense, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
You kind of gotta earn the look. You really do. You have to kind of commit.
But
it's
how
like
do you-
it's like
you
in
have-
this movie.
You have to decide that this is what you're gonna wear for the next 60 years, like Indiana Jones.
Yeah, correct. Right. Yes. Yeah, that is the commitment at that point.
Yeah.
If you become a professor of archaeology.
Because it's not just the jacket. Like, this is the thing that's interesting to me.
Yes.
Is that he's not just wearing the same jacket and hat. I can understand the jacket and hat because that's accessories,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You have the jacket that you wear your entire life because
Right.
that's the jacket you have that you enjoy.
And it's leather. Yeah.
Right.
It's a timeless piece.
It is, and you have the hat that you have had for a long time, and maybe it has sentimental value or something. Like
Right.
it's a hat. You like hats, but he also always wears the same pants and button-down shirt.
Yeah, that's true.
Every single time.
He just has a capsule wardrobe, I think is what it's called on the internet.
Is it?
Trendy. Yeah, you have lots of pieces you can mix and match together. You have few pieces, but you mix and match them into many outfits.
Yeah.
Which I guess isn't this because it's literally the same outfit for 60 years.
It is. He does put a tie on sometimes.
I don't know how to feel about it.
You don't like the tie with the jacket and
It's
stuff
just,
look?
yeah, I don't know.
It feels a little goofy. He does that in this movie and in Last Crusade.
Oh, really?
Yes,
he's
he's
like
got like a Beatles
matured.
thing going on.
He's matured. I know. I need a haircut. So that's the other. Yeah, maybe I have a haircut scheduled tomorrow, but I'm maybe not gonna get it cut. I might just have to do a maintenance trim and see. I've got 1 month until this semester starts.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, you know what? I might as well just like keep growing it and see what it looks like.
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
You think?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or we
if
could
you
both
want me to get a
Indiana
haircut,
Jones hats.
if you want me to get a haircut before your wedding, you tell me. Okay.
Oh, I mean, probably like do something to make it look nice.
I will look exactly.
You don't
how
have to
want
cut
me
it
to.
short.
I will look exactly how you want me
Bald.
to. Okay.
I've decided. Welcome everyone to this episode about Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
You can't tell me he hasn't purchased multiple hats. What's his freaking closet look like? How many
So-
leather jackets and hats does he have in
I
there?
believe he does wear a gray one at the end of Raiders.
What? Really?
Yes.
Oh.
I might be wrong, but I think
That's
that
kinda fun.
It's also not the same hat in every movie. Obviously, like just by virtue of it's a different movie.
Yeah.
The costumers are getting a different hat, and they're slightly different movie to movie.
Interesting.
But the glasses are really what's controversial. What does he need glasses or are they readers? Impossible to tell. Go back and watch these movies.
Yeah.
You can't track it.
Wait, really?
You can't figure out why he wears the glasses.
Because it's like sometimes it's when he's like looking at something up close, and sometimes
Yes.
it's just like it almost is like a Clark Kent situation where he's like, when I'm a professor, I pretend like I'm a mild mannered professor and put the glasses on.
It sometimes feels like he's just trying to do a I'm smarter than I am thing.
Holy crap!
Yeah, he'll just like slap them on. It's confusing, but I think at the end of Raiders when I don't remember, he's like upset about something, and him and Marianne are like, "Let's get out of here."
Yep.
And they're walking down the stairs at like some place. I don't remember what. I need to watch the movie again. He's wearing a suit, I think a blue suit, and I think he's got a gray fedora.
That's a good
Like a
look.
dark gray fedora.
It's a good look.
It is a good. And that's
good.
what I think about it. So we're both gonna get Indiana Jones hats.
Yeah.
And we're gonna stop the episode and do it right now.
Okay. It's Amazon Prime Days in a couple days.
I
so-
changed my mind.
Okay. All right. Screw this whole podcast thing. We're gonna become Indiana Jones.
Did you just thunder? What is that?
I did.
That's nice, dude. High five.
No, I think that was actually thunder. I don't know.
It might be my neighbors.
So anyway, the movie, Marshall. The movie. This is a Cinema Lounge Presents, so we're supposed to keep it tight or something.
I'll keep you tight. I'll keep you
like-
real tight. Here's
you
Indiana
will
Jones
not.
and the Dial of Destiny. It was released in 2023. The script is written by Jez Butterworth.
Yes, that
Who
sounds
wrote-
like a fake name.
It sure does. Jez Butterworth
That's
is
my-
the most George
that is-
Lucas made-up name.
That is my porn star name.
What's up, guys? I'm Jez Butterworth, and I'm here to blast your world open. He wrote Ford vs. Ferrari, Spectre, and Edge of Tomorrow.
Oh.
Amazingly, also wrote this movie, John Henry Butterworth. Now, I don't know if this is a father-son, if this is brothers, if this is a romantic partnership.
Yeah.
I didn't look into it.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Very inclusive of you.
He also wrote, I just didn't care.
Yeah.
He also wrote Ford vs. Ferrari and Edge of Tomorrow. I did not see Spectre on his list. David Kopp, don't know how to say that, is the other scripter of this one. Wrote Jurassic Park, Mission Impossible, the first one, Spider-Man, the first one, and, bizarrely, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Oh, and they kept them, huh?
Yep. I was like, this is the guy that we're bringing back to write this Indiana. Okay. Score, John Williams, amazing. His very last score. Cinematography was by, speaking of made-up names, Vidon Papa Michael.
Hey, just because it's foreign doesn't mean it's
Papa Michael?
Doesn't mean it's made up, dude.
Okay. Vidon, spelled P-H-E-D-O.
You're such a
E-Do.
closet racist.
P-H-E-D-O-N. Vidon.
Uh-huh.
Or Pedon Papa Michael.
It's gotta be Fidon.
Oh,
Fidon?
man. But it's funny to think Pedon Papa Michael. He also shot To Walk the Line, 3:10 to Yuma, another James Mangold movie, Nebraska, and Ford vs. Ferrari, another
Wow, what
James
a list
Mangold
of
movie.
movies for that. That's
Yeah, it's
cool.
a very diverse set of
That
movies.
none of those movies feel like this one. You
I mean,
think?
3:10 to Yuma and Ford vs. Ferrari, I would say do, because those are also James Mangold movies. Performances: Harrison Ford, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, Mads Mikkelsen, John Rhys Davies, Antonio Banderas, Toby Jones, Ethan, with 2 N's, Isidore, and other people.
Cool.
Directed by James Mangold, VFX, primarily ILM and a lot of other VFX houses. Ben,
Yeah.
this is the 5th Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah.
It is the 4th best one.
I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with
Number 1 is obviously The Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
that. Yeah, duh.
Number 2,
Yeah. If we're talking about like rankings in terms of how awesome
Ultimate
Shia
quality?
LaBeouf is,
yes.
then yes.
Number 2,
Yeah.
The Temple of Doom.
Yep.
And then there's a couple other ones.
Yeah. The
And then
Indiana
there's
Jones
this
Christmas special.
The Christmas special, The
Yep.
Young Indiana Jones Chronicles,
Yes. Yep.
starring various actors and eventually River Phoenix.
It's coming back.
And that guy who played like a 90-year-old indie with an eye patch.
Oh, I'm unfamiliar.
They bookended the episodes with
haven't
an
seen all
older
of them.
indie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't think I realized that that's what was happening when I watched it 100 years ago.
Yeah, but now
There was just some like, what's this deal with this old man with an eye patch
patch.
who's like bumbling around and having a hard time in his old age?
Wow, which is like so similar to Harrison Ford.
Kind of how this movie starts.
No.
Ben,
No.
I do think this is not the worst one.
I agree. It's better than Crystal Skull. I think I had seen some reviews and I was worried. Some people said that they thought this was on level with Crystal Skull.
Early reviews were bad.
Yeah. I get it. I get it. I get the. I don't think it. But we'll get into our review of it later, I think. But I think.
Let's talk about something else, and
my-
then eventually, eventually we'll get into a review of Indiana Jones: The Dial of Destiny.
Where can we go for? Honestly, that's how every show starts for us. Let's take 20 minutes to not talk about the. Oh no,
You gotta get in the rhythm.
No, my dad the other day was like, "Yeah, I heard it just doesn't really feel like too much of an adventure movie." And he's like, "I read that review," and I was like, "Oh, really?" And then I watched it, and I texted my dad. I was like, "You should go watch this. It still feels like Indiana Jones." And I think that anybody who says that it's not as good as the other ones.
Yeah.
Here's what I think. Hot take. I think if Indiana Jones is Indiana Jones, this is the version of Indiana Jones that is closest to National Treasure in terms of quality.
Yeah.
I feel like this is on level. If you like National Treasure, if it's enjoyable for you, you'll like this one.
Yeah. Man, wow! I hate how accurate that is.
Yeah. It's
Like,
like
I feel like it's
like
about on par.
It's like a romp through history with bad guys that are
Bad guys.
and
Yeah.
good guys that are good guys, and we've got some chasing scenes, solving some puzzles.
Yeah.
Um.
2 very long, extended
Yeah.
chasing scenes.
Yes.
I think that
it's so
yeah.
close. It's so close to being really good.
It's really
Yeah.
close to being what it should have been. It's like it has all of the Indiana Jones formula. The score is awesome.
Genuinely fantastic.
It feels like an Indiana Jones movie.
Yes.
Like you could have like copy pasted it from the first three, and it's fantastic. It's really, really
legitimately
good.
some of the best stuff that I think John Williams has ever done.
I don't know if I've ever seen a movie before where
Really?
where I don't know if I've ever seen a movie before. I close my eyes every time when I get scared. I don't know
Which
if I've ever
is
seen a movie before.
The entire duration of every movie. 'cause
What
they
is a
scare
movie?
me.
Yeah.
I don't understand how those little people got in there.
Yeah. I don't know if I've ever seen a movie where the movie distracted me from the score. Where the score was so good that I was like, this shot doesn't do justice to what John Williams is
music.
doing here. Like
Yeah.
they're like the first time you hear the theme, it's like a CGI shot of Indiana Jones running on top of a train, like from way out. And,
Yeah.
and I was like, really?
And
Like
it's
that's
the way
your
that he's running, the animation of it is really goofy.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I can't remember if it was like too fast or too slow. It's this very specific problem that happens in video games where
Oh, really?
your character has to move at this right pace to match with the animation of the character.
Oh, really?
Otherwise, they look weird. And to me, it looked like he was like, I don't know if it was like the treading water or going to like the Flash going too slow thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But regardless, multiple times that happened to me where the shot didn't match up with how great the score was.
Yes.
It's like that, like you got if you're gonna use the indie theme, like it's gotta be something that's worth
it
it. You
right.
gotta earn it. Yeah. Yeah.
it.
Especially on like a reboot, quote unquote, like this.
Or
you know?
the finale.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The ending.
That's a good
This is the
point.
grand finale. At least it ought to be. Yeah, I mean, I think it is so close to being really good. And there's a lot of things, small things. I don't think there's anything that is majorly wrong with this movie. I don't think there's anything that I would say is genuinely bad.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just a lot of small things that add up to we're not quite there.
Yes.
Which is weird.
Yeah.
Because James Mangold had a big hand in working on this script. Apparently, they came to him. Harrison loves this character. He has.
You can tell that. You can tell that in
Yeah.
the movie too.
I mean, you can tell in interviews. Ask him
Yeah.
about Han Solo, and he's like, I don't know what a parsec is. I don't care about that.
Yeah.
You ask him about Indiana Jones, he's like, well, let me tell you about all of my adventures with Steven Spielberg and George Lucas throughout history. Like, he loves this character, and he has so much fun doing it that he's been the one who really has pushed things forward for like Crystal Skull and for this one in a lot of ways. And he was the one who took a script to, not that he wrote, but a script to Spielberg at first, and then he was going to do it initially, I think, and then he moved away from that and did Fablemans or something, I don't know. But then he approached James Mangold. He specifically said, I want James Mangold to do this. Mangold was like, this is like, you've got the general idea of an Indiana Jones movie here, but I need a year to rewrite it. And they said, no. And then they looked around, presumably, for a few more hours and couldn't find anybody. And they came back and were like, okay, let's try it. So they gave him time. Like, this doesn't feel like a rushed job. It feels like there's a lot of care and attention that went into this, genuinely.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of the storytelling feels hard.
The cunning warrior attacks neither body nor mind.
Tell me how!
The heart, Osborne. First, we attack his heart.
Felt, and I think what it does do a good job of is portraying that, honestly, the 80-year-old Indiana Jones, or I don't know what he is canon. Harrison Ford is 80 years old.
Yeah.
So I don't know what Indy is supposed to be in this movie.
Probably about the same.
But I think what it does is his arc of being the washed up, or you know, that we meet him kind of on the day of his retirement.
Yes.
And he's like, he's kind of, you can tell he's grappling with
Something.
what's the point? Yeah, something. Yeah. He's not. He's clearly a shell of his former self. He wakes up with hungover with a glass of alcohol in his hand, and you know, like, and I think that chase of his former self is actually really well done. One of my favorite scenes from the whole movie that I think tells the story really well is when he is in the lecture hall as Professor Jones.
Dr. Jones.
Dr. Jones.
Dr. Jones!
And,
Yo, whip.
And he's got the freaking overhead projector, and he's telling the story of Archimedes. He's trying to interact with the class, like, anyone, Bueller,
Yeah.
can anyone answer this? Which, when you compare it to Raiders of the Lost Ark, and it's a full lecture hall of all the college girls, and they're all fawning over him.
Look at this hunk.
And he's this hunky, adventuresome professor.
Yeah.
And now we see him as the old, weird, crusty professor that everyone's taking the class because they have to take the elective.
You don't know about Archimedes?
Yeah, like, it'll be on the final. This will be on the final.
Yeah.
Anyway, which I think that was maybe one of my favorite storytelling components of the whole movie.
Yeah.
And so, to your point, Marshall, you were saying it feels like there's care, and they took the time with this to tell an Indiana Jones story. It doesn't feel like it's rushed. It doesn't feel like, but yeah. Anyway, yeah. Which is interesting because it still just doesn't. It's not great. It's not fantastic. So what do you feel like where would you start with fixing this movie?
I think that there's a really good emotional core to this movie that is the relationship between Indy and Helena. And I've seen a lot of people bashing Helena and being like, she's so brash and annoying. It's like, yeah, they wrote it that way. It's on purpose. She's supposed to be that way, actually. And she has growth throughout the movie, and she does become softer and more like, it's kind of like Indy in Temple of Doom. Like, he starts out as this kind of awful jerk and then becomes the Indy that we see in Raiders. But we don't quite get there. Like, we don't have enough actual emotional scenes between the two of them to really show that. There's just like, there's game recognizing game at different points, but there's not them actually stopping and talking about the issues that they have and why Indy is in this slump and why Helena has gone off in this direction the way that she has and everything.
Yeah, they've both experienced deep tragic loss.
Yeah.
And you're getting that story as the movie progresses,
which I really like. Like, it's really good, but they just need to go deeper into it.
Yeah, I think that word, going deeper into it, what I've been thinking is that they really kind of need to simplify a little bit of the stuff going on.
Yeah.
I think they need to. I think they have a lot of the core pieces of Indiana Jones, the character,
Hat,
and
jacket.
boom, Nazis. Honestly, just history, artifacts belonging in a museum,
mystical something.
Yes.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they have the core components, but I think they tried to do too much, and I think they didn't go deep enough into any of those things. Like, I think they could have cut out some of the stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like, they go through like the tomb of Archimedes. Like, that's dope. I wish they would have spent more time on that. They do the whole like they scuba dive to the sunken Roman trireme and there's skeletons everywhere. It's like, that's so Indiana Jones.
Yes,
Just
and then
like,
they just kind of do nothing with that.
Yes, yeah.
Antonio Banderas tells them like 10 times, you can only be down there for 3 minutes, or your lungs will explode.
Right.
Okay, only 3 minutes. And then Indy's like, 3 minutes? And he goes, 3 minutes, no more, no less.
Yeah.
He's like, 3 minutes? 3 minutes? 3 minutes? Like, they say it so, and then it just doesn't mean anything in the end.
Yeah.
Don't go for more than or less than 3 minutes.
Right.
And don't cross the streams.
Yes.
And then neither of those things happen.
Right.
There's no real peril.
Yeah, so there's just like a lot of stuff that could just get cut, I think, from the movie, and I think if they would have spent a little bit more time just slowing down the pace of some of the stuff, I think.
This is one that I want to do a recut of. Like, when this comes out on digital, I'm going to cut a half hour out of this movie. And it's gonna be one or both of the car chases.
Yeah.
Because, and honestly, how do you feel about the opening?
I don't think they needed to do that.
I would completely take it out.
That's what I was thinking. Wow, that's really funny that you say that. I was going to ask you that question, actually.
Because it's a 2.5 hour long movie.
Yeah.
That flashback opening is 25 minutes long. For context, the opening of Last Crusade was 15 minutes long.
Yeah.
So we've got 10 extra minutes here that isn't really giving us much, and it doesn't really
Stop flexing.
it's not very fun.
Stop flexing on the de-aging.
And like we don't want it.
That's all that feels like. It just
Cast
feels
Alden
like
Iron
it
Right.
just feels like, oh look, we can do it.
Yeah,
Don't.
it's improving, but like,
yeah.
stop.
Don't. And if you're gonna do it, modify Harrison Ford's voice so he doesn't
Good
sound
Lord.
like he's 80.
Like,
Go.
so
You can
distracting.
do that.
Completely, immediately ruined the illusion.
Yeah.
Like the de-aging was genuinely very good.
Yeah.
But then it was just like Harrison. Not everyone's voices changed super intensely over their careers. It worked okay in The Irishman because they weren't aging them down that much. But in this, Harrison Ford sounded completely different in like the Fugitive era
yes.
that would have been taking place
Yeah.
than he does now. Completely different.
Yeah.
And it's just like they take the mask off of him, and I think, oh, that looks pretty good. And then he talks, and it's just like, oh, you gotta.
Yeah.
What is?
Yeah, it's weird. They could have introduced the legend of Archimedes' dial countless other ways.
Exactly the
in
way they did.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like
Yeah. Just literally cut that section out, have it open with him. They didn't do the Paramount gag too, which kind of makes me sad. All the previous movies opened from the Paramount logo mountain and then fading into some kind of mountain of some sort.
I did not know that. That's very fun.
Yeah.
Huh.
And I was surprised to see Paramount's name on this at all. They must own some kind of rights to some degree. But they did not do that in this. But what they should have done is just open with him in his apartment.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I want more of old Indy being an old man. I loved him waking up and grabbing the baseball, but waking up to the Magical Mystery Tour by the Beatles. I turned to my friend and I was like, it's the Beatles.
That's fun.
And then be very excited. And to like have him grab the baseball bat and go down there and get all angry old man-y, and then have him keep being an angry old man. I want
Yeah.
to see him go through his entire
Also,
morning routine.
Dude, Harrison Ford looks good without a shirt on.
He does.
For an 80-year-old man.
He does.
He's looking pretty good. I
He's
guess
got
that's
kind
what
of that
money
like
gets
very
you.
dense look.
Yeah, but he's like still kind of muscular, which I was like kind of surprised by.
He is. I want to
crazy.
see his whole morning routine though.
Yeah, in
Like
real life.
no, like in the movie. I think that what they should have done is have, instead of like parallel Indy's first adventure in Last Crusade, but have it be Indy in his apartment just getting around and doing his morning and stuff.
Sure.
And like have the music play against that. Kind of like play it as a comedy. Like these movies are funny.
Yeah.
These movies are historically full of jokes and silly moments and stuff.
Yeah.
And this has that, but it's not to
Who
the
knows?
same level.
Maybe there's some artifacts laying around the apartment. There's like
Yeah.
little cues to something else. There's
Random
like,
stuff or something.
Yeah, right. There's
Yeah.
a rubber snake hanging from something, or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. Huh.
I think that would have been a lot better.
Yeah.
Um,
And then you don't really lose anything. Even I was just thinking in my brain that there is a line where, what's his buckets, the Nazi professor guy. What's his character's name?
Fuller?
What's the actor's name?
Mads Mikkelsen.
Mads Mikkelsen. Thank you.
I think
He
he's a good
shows up
villain.
and Indy says something to the extent of, "Last time I saw you, you were a Nazi."
Yeah.
Or something along those lines.
Yeah.
And I think I was wondering if you cut the beginning scene, does that take away that line? I don't think it even does.
I don't think so.
I think it's still like there can still be a reveal of
it's
for
cheesy,
the
but it
audience
works,
of
and
this-
there's no longer the problem of why is his face pristine after getting smashed
yeah,
by a thing on a train at
Yeah.
high speed.
yeah,
You don't have that problem anymore because we didn't see that happen.
right.
Very strange decision to not give him any kind of facial
right,
scarring.
anything. At one point, I
at
was
all.
like, "Is he missing a tooth?" No,
No, I don't think so. He's just like,
Yeah.
he looked perfect. He
Yeah.
drank from the Grail or something, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
What are the things that we love about this movie? We've talked about a lot of the small problems. What do we really enjoy about this movie? I think Harrison Ford does genuinely put on a very good performance as Old Indy. I really enjoy it. I once we got past, like literally like halfway through young Indy sequence, I kept thinking, This is weird, but I'm sure that Harrison's probably going to do a great job once we actually get to Old Man Indy. And I think that he does do a good job, and it is a much more mellowed out version of Dr. Jones.
Yeah.
Until he gets back into it and everything. I thought that the couple cameos that we got in there were good and didn't feel fan servicey.
Yeah.
The fact that Salo was there and how they explained why he's there as well.
Sure. Yes.
That
yeah.
Indy brought him over during the war.
Yeah. That's
I kind of
fun.
love that.
Yeah. I guess I was assuming that there was going to be more Marion in the movie.
Yeah.
When I saw that, the actress name escapes me. I saw that she
Karen
was
Allen.
Karen Allen. I saw she was on the cast list.
Yeah.
And I guess I just assumed there would be more of that. And
I did not know at all.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh,
that surprised
okay.
me.
Oh, okay.
Which I was happy to see.
I guess I also listened to an interview with her a couple weeks ago where they were like, "You're in the new movie," and she was kind of like, she didn't really talk about it too much, which makes sense because
it's somewhat supposed to be a surprise.
Yeah.
Like she's not in any of the marketing materials or anything.
wow, interesting. Wow, I guess I just assumed she'd be in more of it. So, from what I knew about
Well,
it.
you're a fool.
Did you like that? While we're on the topic, did you like the ending? I
did.
know we're talking about things that we like about the movie.
Yeah, let's go full into spoilers.
I do have something I liked about the movie. Do you want me to share that before we
Share
move
it.
into that?
Share it.
No?
Share
You
it.
want me- okay, I'm
Share
sorry.
it.
I'm all out of order right
Share it.
now. I genuinely liked the Archimedes
dial.
the dial,
Whatever it's called.
I'm trying to think of what the right word is.
I
Plot
can't
line,
remember.
the Archimedes plot line.
Antithecra.
I don't know, something in
Or
Greek.
something like that.
Yeah. I genuinely like that as like the artifact that they're searching for in this movie.
Yeah.
I think the backstory was fun. I think that to do something that wasn't biblical was fun.
Yeah.
It made me feel like, oh yeah, they could do like a lot more Indiana IP stuff if they wanted to.
They could. Like, there's all kinds
there's
of
a lot
artifacts
of
out
artifacts
there.
that he could be searching for.
And like notable. I mean, is that a real thing too? I wonder, or is that something they made up for this?
No, but I mean like the Archimedes background, like the battle was a real thing.
Yeah, conflate it with something.
Yeah, like the siege
As opposed to the magic
Siege
stones of
Syracuse,
Temple of Doom.
I think. Yeah.
That are just like magic stones.
But yeah, no. So yes, the artifact is made up, but I think all of that felt good, and I don't think they tried to overdo like the over-explaining like the magic system of it even.
Yeah.
Like I think
explain it really very much at all.
they talked about something about like he was a mathematician and like something the axis of the Earth and Moon or something like that. And I think that was great. I think that they didn't need to explain it too much. The answer to it wasn't aliens, which I think is a big win for me.
Yep.
So anyway, I genuinely liked that part of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the stakes felt relevant. Kind of the whole time travel thing. I thought they were really gonna mess more with the whole thing where he was like, if I could go back in time and save my son to stop him from enlisting.
Yeah.
I
Do we
thought
want to talk about that in spoilers?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Do we do spoilers right now?
What?
Do you want to do spoilers right now?
Sure.
You want to transition to that? Okay, everybody. Spoiler warning. If this hasn't been spoiler enough for you, if you haven't seen the movie yet,
Here it goes.
maybe go see it or wait for it to come out on Disney Plus.
And here it comes. Spoilers engage.
James Bond
Dies at the end.
does die at the end.
It's crazy.
Yeah. That's.
It's really unfortunate. I was sad to see him go. He
But
was
now
really
at least they can
incredible
finally
character.
cast Idris Elba for the role.
He doesn't want to do it.
Shoot.
Yeah, he said that he's probably too old for it at this point, and the people who got really racist about it kind of ruined the idea for him.
Oh, that's bullcrap.
Yeah,
I guess now they can finally hire Henry Cavill.
bad news. He doesn't want to do it, and he said that the people who got really racist about it, when they were like, a white James Bond, no thank you. That really ruined it for him, so he didn't want to do that.
Fans ruin everything.
Yeah, dude, it's
We
crazy.
can't have nice things.
Can't have nice.
And by nice things, I mean
Bonds.
hot dudes being James Bond.
Can't have that. You
Guess
know
we'll
what
have to
we
go
can
back to
have?
Pierce Brosnan.
You know, unfortunately, he said he didn't want to do it.
You're kidding me.
The backlash when they said that they were going to cast him, just kind of ruined it all for him. They just made it all about race again, you know.
And God,
They're like, this guy's Irish.
that sucks.
Get him win an Irish James Bond. He's Irish?
Is he? I don't know.
I think he was born in Ireland.
haven't the slightest idea.
Anyway, James Bond
spoilers.
dies at the end. I think, I do think that the way they did time travel in this was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Even before we get the twist, which was that they could only ever have gone to that specific time.
Mm-hmm.
That's also kind of fun that it was all a trick.
Yeah.
That Archimedes was like, I'm going to make people think they can go anywhere, but actually, they have to come and be my friend.
Here. Right, yeah.
It's like, that's great.
Yeah.
I like the idea that it's not a time machine as much as it is a device that shows you where a time rift will be.
Yes.
But that is also fascinating because that introduces into this Indiana Jones world the sci-fi element of there are just the rifts in time that periodically open up in this Indiana Jones world. It's
I didn't even think about that.
It's interesting. Like it's been easy in the past to look at Indiana Jones, I think, until the alien stuff, and say this somewhat makes sense because it's like biblical artifacts and a couple magic stones.
Yeah, right.
And we can look at that and be like, oh, so this is a universe where like Jesus was for sure the Son of God and all this, like that's all 100% real.
Or at least there's there's some other power other than humans that is powerful.
Yes.
That whether or not it's the Christian God or something like that.
But we've
is
introduced
right.
we've introduced one thing.
Right.
And then we introduce, well, now there's also aliens, and this is a sci-fi universe as well.
Right.
And now we're introducing, well, there's also these time travel rifts that open up
yeah,
in the
they've
sky.
jumped the shark a bit, haven't they?
I mean, a little bit, but what are you going to do?
Right.
What other biblical artifact are you going to go after? I mean, they kind of, for a moment there, were like, look, it's the spear that pierced the side of Christ. But
I thought they were
fake.
going to go for
Yeah.
that, and I was like, no.
Yeah. I wonder if that was something in an earlier script.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know what that would be. What other biblical artifacts would they do?
I mean, there's historically, there's so many biblical artifacts
there
that
could be anything.
that's like, oh, it's the finger of Peter.
This
and
is
if you touch it, you
Thomas's
can,
fishing boat.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Legend
I
says
mean-
that if you cast on one side of this boat, you will catch nothing.
Yeah.
But if you cast on the other side after someone telling you to from the beach, that you will catch a lot of fish.
Yep, and then you'll be a fisher of men.
And then you'll fish for men.
Which sounds a lot like my Tinder history.
Better than bowling for soup. High five.
Yes, high five. So anyway, regardless, you were saying that how far can you go down the artifact route without getting it into something bigger?
It's gonna just get weirder and weirder. But also, I don't know. I feel
that's
like
the issue with. Well, no, I think that's why people would argue you don't need more movies. Just stop.
I would end
stop
it here.
after the 3. Just stop.
Well, that's one of my discussion questions I have here: is should they continue?
Not
with Harrison, obviously.
Yeah, and I think if that's the case, then I think I could honestly get behind the TV show reboot, maybe.
Yeah.
To see how it goes, I would watch it
Like an X-Files.
Yeah, like
Object of the Week.
Here we go. Yeah. Or even if it's not Object of the Week, even if it's like Object of the Season, and we're breaking into miniseries. But I don't know. Here's the thing. It doesn't matter what anybody's opinion is, because the question is how many times will it have to flop before they're like, all right, we're done touching this
made
one.
$16 million.
Here's a fun fact for
Opening
you, Marshall. Indiana Jones 5
Yeah.
has already been surpassed by Insidious 5. So
yeah, I mean that it just doesn't have general appeal.
Yeah,
I saw some statistic that 40% of all tickets were bought by men over 40. Like, it's just, it doesn't have mass appeal. It's not for kids. This is not aimed at, not that a kid couldn't watch it, but it's not like a kid isn't going to see a trailer for this and think, I want to see the Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah.
They don't care about this old man running around. They don't know what that is.
Right.
Apparently women, not extremely interested either. It was mostly men.
Yeah.
Phoebe Waller-Bridge can't get the women in the butt seats. They can't get the butts
In the
in
butt
the seats. Can't get butts in seats.
Yeah.
Sorry about it. Do you think that they ever had a conversation about how she is the Millennium Falcon?
What?
Remember in Solo when they plug her into the Millennium Falcon?
No? Wait, what? I've seen Solo, but it was apparently not memorable.
She's the bad part of that movie.
Oh.
I think that it's easy for the cynical go woke get broke crowd to look at this and be like, they're just trying to set up a girl Indiana Jones universe.
But
they're really not.
what they were doing.
And she's apparently not really that interested in doing that right now, at least. And it's not going to make money.
Which is why we need to go and do the Shia LaBeouf Indiana Jones universe.
I guess.
But apparently he died? Is that the
Yes.
son who died?
Yes.
Is it Shia LaBeouf that's dead?
Yes.
Okay.
I love that they did not ignore Mutt. And I love that they found a way to not ignore him that also included not bringing him back.
Yeah.
And I love that both of those things happened in a way that was interesting and meaningful for Indy's character. That the reason that he is in this slump, that Marion has left him because he can't get out of it. She was able to keep moving, but he wasn't. He's stuck. The reason he's in that is because of this adversarial relationship that they had, that just he fell into the same trap that him and his dad did. But then he didn't get to have the redemption that him and his dad did because Mutt went to Vietnam to prove a point and he got killed.
Yeah.
And that is so good.
Yeah.
That is so smart.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love the death of Shia LaBeouf in Vietnam. I want to see it. I want to see it in detail.
Which is actually why they're pushing for a second Tropic Thunder movie.
Dude, that would be amazing.
They
Imagine if they made it. Have you seen Jacob's Ladder?
No.
Okay, I'm not going to spoil it.
Okay.
Interesting, disturbing movie that has a twist at the end that I would usually hate, but works really well for that movie.
Cool. Okay.
Anyway, I really
you
like
love that,
the emotional core
yeah,
there.
I think so.
They just needed to explore it more.
Yeah, I know.
What they need to do, this is what I'm going to do in my cut.
Okay.
I can't add scenes.
Marshall cut.
What I'm going to do in my cut is I'm going to take the entire opening sequence out.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to take as much of the car chases out as possible, the tuk-tuk chase. Unnecessary. Don't need it. It just goes on forever, and it doesn't really lead to anything. And 5 minutes later, we're just catching up with the Nazis again. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Take those two things out, I think we have a pretty tight movie. I can try to cut some other things around, but I think that's pretty good. What I would do if I could do reshoots is I would cut that stuff out because I'm taking away like probably 40 minutes at that point. Because I'm taking away 25 minutes of that opening. I'm taking away a 10, 15 minute car chase and then a few more. Dude, it felt like an hour.
Why was she being chased by that dude that she was engaged to?
Because it was just supposed to be a joke, I think, about how he's so desperately in love with her, but he just wasn't a threat at all. And it was just like, there's more people after them. It was dumb. I'm going to try to take as much of that out as possible.
Yeah.
What I would do in lieu of that is shoot a scene between Indy and Helena, maybe on the boat with Antonio Banderas' boat, so they don't just like, okay, here we are, now we're on the boat and we're going.
Yeah.
We have a little bit of a nice scene between them for a minute there when she's like, talks about, if you could, like, I want to complete my father's work. That's the only thing that matters. Don't you understand that? And Indy gives this very knowing look because that's literally what The Last Crusade was about. And the whole thing about that was letting go, and that Henry was able to let go and urged Indy to do the same thing. Like, there's a lot of depth there that they just very quickly move on from. If we linger on that, and we have a whole conversation about, you're angry at me because I was like a surrogate father to you when your father went insane, essentially, and he wasn't there for you, and I wasn't there for you, and I should have been there for you, and I left, and like, have her be angry and yell at this old man and have him get emotional about, like, we can do a whole thing there, and it would add so much depth and so much, like, I'm going to say the word, it would add so much heart.
The heart, Osborne. First, we attack his heart.
To this whole thing that just isn't quite present. And I think that's the thing that's missing, is the Spielberg element. We don't have that Spielberg heart.
The heart!
And we don't have his cinematography and the way that he blocks scenes. Those are the two things.
I wonder if the blocking is what I was feeling when the score didn't match the scenes.
Yeah.
I wonder if I'm so used to the John Williams score matching the Spielberg blocking.
It's so stylized,
that
especially in the Indiana Jones movies.
I wonder if that's what fell off, was the blocking didn't feel the same.
I saw a great video. I don't remember if it was from Thomas Flight. I've mentioned Thomas Flight multiple times on the show. I think it was from Thomas Flight. That was about, I can't remember the director, but there's a director who has periodically just done edits and like projects on his own time, and he did a project that was taking The Last Crusade, not The Last Crusade, Raiders of the Lost Ark, turning it completely black and white, and then having it, taking out all the dialogue and then putting in, I can't remember what the music was, but it was his own music. It was like some kind of specific scoring, and it still works so well just because of how amazingly and uniquely these movies are shot. And you're missing that, and it's not shot poorly, but it's such a high bar that it's just impossible for anyone to hit. And I think trying to match that would have been a mistake, but not having it also kind of hurts.
Which just leads back to our discussion of like, maybe the issue is just they made another movie and they shouldn't have.
Yeah. If they made this movie when they made Crystal Skull, so it's the 50s, because I thought that they talk about the space program and everything.
I thought that was fun.
I thought that was gonna, the way they talked about it before the movie and before trailers and stuff, the way they talked about it made it seem like Operation Paperclip and like all this different stuff, and NASA was gonna factor into the plot way more, and maybe at some point it was. But in this, it really just serves as a means to an end to get your Nazi into the movie.
Oh yeah,
and explain why this Nazi is in America and allowed to be running free.
Right.
But that only matters for like 10 minutes, and then he immediately goes rogue and is not listening to the president. So it doesn't, we don't need to, we could be in the 50s and it wouldn't matter.
Right.
And it could be the Russians and it wouldn't matter. So if
you're saying it would have felt less like a one-off movie and more like at least it fits into like we're doing a couple of these things.
I think you just end it when Harrison Ford is 60. Because I mean the first however much of Crystal Skull is genuinely very good Indiana Jones. Yeah. There's some great stuff in there. And it helps that Harrison Ford is only in his like mid-60s. He can still do a lot of the action. He doesn't look like he's 200 years old. Yeah. You could do everything you did in this movie in that movie. But then you don't have the mutt element, so how do you work that? What's the emotional? Or maybe, I mean, that's the thing. This is just a surrogate. This is just a father and daughter story. So just have it be about the mutt character. Yeah. And what's it?
You're saying replace Crystal Skull with this movie.
Essentially. Just
Crystal
get
Skull.
rid of Crystal Skull,
Yeah.
put this in place, and have Steven Spielberg direct it because he'd still be up for it in 2006 or 8 or whenever that came out.
Yeah. Huh.
I give it a yes. I do think this is a good movie.
Yeah.
It's just too long.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna, it's just long. And listen, guys, I'll make my edit. And if you know me, we can watch it together. Yeah. And it'll be an interesting experiment.
I think it's fun. I think it feels Indiana Jonesy enough. Yeah. I think there's some fun moments. It's not bad.
No, it's really not. And I hate that so often it sounds like we're really dogging on something.
I know.
Because I genuinely do like it.
Yeah.
I genuinely really like it. I just get disappointed that it's not more than it is.
I know. But that's okay. That's part of the issue, though. That's part of the issue. I think this movie will have worse appeal because of those things. Because people have high standards for this. Yeah. And I think that's fine. And I think they shouldn't have touched it. I think they should have recast Indiana Jones. Or
no, you can't. You can't.
Really? You can't.
I don't want them to do another. I don't want them to ever recast Indiana Jones.
You can't just do the James Bond treatment where it's like lots of different people are.
No, because like historically that was already the thing with James Bond. Like that, there's this long history of James Bond.
I guess yes.
Being even back in the what is it? Sean Connery did 3 movies initially, 3 or 4, and then immediately we move on, and then we move on, and then we like.
I guess
we
also
very quickly established
the
that.
007 is multiple people. It's not necessarily.
And it's based on something.
Yeah.
This is originated with Harrison Ford.
Yes.
Like, Harrison Ford is Indiana Jones. Ian Fleming, dude, Christopher Lee is James Bond, if we're going to get really literal with it, which is crazy that Fleming based so much of that experience off of, like, the really intellectual stuff is off of his experience in MI6, and the action and womanizing stuff is based on Christopher Lee's time in the war.
Wow.
Insane.
So you can't. What you're saying is though
I don't think you can recast
You
it.
can't just recast it.
And if we were going to do that, cast Alden Ehrenreich. I think he's a good Harrison Ford. He was good in Solo, and he deserves another chance. And I think he could do a good job. But I don't want them to do it. I don't want it to happen. If
You
you're
just
going
want
to
to
do
be
anything,
over. You want this to be it. But
I want it to
But I
end.
don't. But the issue is, I don't think it will be. I think they're gonna do something else.
I think if they do anything in live action, I don't think they will. I think if they do anything,
Can they
it'll
do a
be like a
video game?
cartoon. There's a
This seems
there is
like
a video game coming out.
the entire opening sequence finished.
Yeah.
Maybe it was because it was de-aged Harrison Ford or whatever, but that ended, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones killing Nazis stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, this would be an awesome video game, like Uncharted, but Indiana Jones.
Uncharted is just Indiana Jones.
I guess so.
Do you want to know something?
Yes, please.
Speaking of video games and killing Nazis, Machine Games, the developers of Wolfenstein: The New Order,
Wow, that's Nazis.
yeah, they are developing an Indiana Jones game being published by Bethesda.
Really?
Yep, that's
I'm
all
a
we
freaking
know.
genius.
That's all we know about.
Okay, cool though.
I mean,
Interesting.
Wolfenstein is obviously a first-person shooter. I would be kind of surprised if this was a first-person game,
Same.
because you would think you would. But also, if you do first-person, you don't have to have like the likeness of Harrison Ford or off-brand Harrison Ford
Right.
to be in this.
What's the problem with that?
I don't know. So I don't know. I'm interested to see what that is. There's also, speaking of all of that stuff, there's also a James Bond game coming from the people who are making Hitman.
Oh, seriously?
IO Interactive.
Oh,
yeah.
that sounds fun.
Yes, I'm
Hitman's
very
very
excited
fun.
about that.
Cool. Wow.
So, I don't know. I think the video game's coming. I think that they might do maybe an animated show if they do anything, animated shorts. Maybe they'll bring the comics back. There were comics as recently as 2019.
I think I knew that.
They weren't very good, I don't think, but a lot of this stuff isn't a lot of the time. I don't know. I hope they don't come back. If they do anything in live action, have it be Keith Weekwan, grown up short round.
That'd be sick.
But also, I don't want them to do it.
Do you think for final question for me
Yeah.
for you, if someone to you said
Will you play Indiana Jones?
yes,
Yes, I would do it.
especially once we have years under the belt of wearing these hats?
Yeah. I do want to ask you about our Indiana Jones movie.
Okay. Okay. Let's say it's Laura, someone you care about,
I care about
and
Laura.
and you're going to sit down and we're gonna watch Indiana Jones movies.
Yes.
Do you stop after
Last Crusade.
The Last Crusade, or
I
do
think
you
that
keep
I would-
going? Do you keep going and show these two?
I would go through all of them.
You would.
I think that it's not like Star Wars where I'm showing these movies to Donovan and I don't really know that I care about showing him the sequels, honestly.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I think it's more I don't think that any of them are necessarily bad, even Crystal Skull. It's just such a fall down from what came before it.
Yeah.
So I would definitely still show them. I would just be like, listen, the original three are the best ones. These ones are okay. Let's watch them. That's what that is. I have a question for you.
Disrespect. Yes.
How do you think this compares to our Indiana Jones movie that we wrote?
Oh yeah, that happened, didn't it?
It sure did. Brendan Marshall do a screenplay.
I feel like.
I re-listened to it recently.
Did you? Was it bad?
It's good.
Is it? I was gonna say that I feel like I went into that episode feeling like we were gonna come up with something really good, and then like 20 minutes in, I just distinctly remember sitting there thinking like, who's gonna listen to this?
It's
Is
a funny
this-
episode.
Is it good? Okay.
I really like that episode.
All right.
I think it's really
I
funny.
should go back and re-listen to it.
You should. Our MacGuffin was the Fountain of Youth.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah, which is kind of as I was
El
listening
Dorado
back to it.
Yeah,
It's a completely different thing.
But no, it's like in the New World, and you're discovering the Fountain of Youth. Like
Yeah,
it's
sure.
like the Maya or Aztec. Or
El
whatever.
Dorado could be a more interesting thing. What I kept thinking is that it's kind of similar to the holy grail. So if we did want to pivot it, I think it would be really fun to actually make that in some form. I don't know how we would do that.
Okay.
You can come to Colombia and we can
You're
shoot
like
some
you
stuff in the
literally
jungle.
your job now is to make videos, dude. This is
is.
literally your job. This could be your directorial debut.
We shoot stuff. We go to Colombia. We shoot
Yeah.
stuff in the jungle.
Oh yeah, and we have all the gold from the freaking gold museum.
Yeah. Well, actually, all of that is in Europe
What?
because they stole it.
So none of the gold in the gold museum actually is there.
The gold museum is there.
Oh yeah.
That'd be a funny prank. Walk in like Indiana Jones. This belongs in a museum.
And then swap it with a bag of sand.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was. Did I ever show you the Donald Trump idol that I found?
No.
There was like something at an aquarium we went to that was probably made by the indigenous peoples a million years ago. But
The
it really,
aquarium was made by the indigenous peoples.
yes, no, this idol thing was whatever it was. It just looked like Donald Trump to me, and I thought it was really funny. He's going like this.
Ooh.
It kind of has the hair.
Yeah, the lips and the hands and the yeah.
But yeah, I think this is a good movie. I like it. If This Then That, other Indiana Jones movies, The Mummy. If you like video games, the Uncharted games.
I should watch
The
that.
Tomb Raider games are also very good and very much in this vein.
Yeah.
The Tomb Raider movies, not as much.
Don't watch the Uncharted movie. It's maybe the worst movie I've ever seen.
Watch it if you want to have
Please
a
don't.
thing to make fun of and hate.
It's so bad.
Do you like Papa John's, by the way, Ben?
No, why?
Well, then you would not like the Uncharted movie.
Is there Papa John's in it?
Dude, there is a whole
saw
segment
it
that
in
is just
theaters.
all about Papa John's.
That's really weird.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
Thanks everyone for listening to this episode of Cinema Lounge, the official podcast of The Great Scubdoo, the YouTube channel that we are going to start touching soon, I think, is what I'm hoping.
Oh, I've been hearing that for years.
It's true. We shot a thing of my Criterion movies. I haven't edited that and put it up yet, but I want to and I'm planning to. We were talking about some co-op games we could play, Sniper Elite. Speaking of smashing Nazis.
Heck yeah.
Wait. That's not what I
We'll be
mean.
touching stuff soon.
Unless we're
and
talking about Last
smashing
Crusade.
Nazis.
If we're talking about Last Crusade, we're talking about Elsa, what's her name? Okay.
All right.
Then I'm on board.
If you're asking if I would,
I would.
If you're asking if I would, then I am not going to. It's privileged information. Thank you. Thanks everyone for listening to the show. You can check us out on social media all over the place. Cinema Lounge Pod, Instagram, not Threads yet.
spicy.
Facebook, Discord. It's in the description. Guys, I gotta blow my nose. Leave me alone. Amen. I've been Marshall.
Hallelujah. I've been.
It belongs in a museum.